Alcohol, the one drug that is legal and accepted by almost everybody to use without questions asked. I don't have to show you hard numbers to tell that a lot of people consume alcohol. This is because it's culturally cultivated. Alcohol use amongst young people is very common, getting wasted, going to parties, hooking up with strangers even, and doing it all again the next day. Or as they say, eat, sleep, rave, repeat. But do we ever stop to think about how this is affecting our lives? Is this something that is fulfilling to us in the long run? Or is it something that makes us more depressed without consciously knowing it? In this video, I'm going to tell you my story with alcohol and partying and why I decided to give it up for the most part at least, as well as give you some tips and tricks to figure out if this way of living is something that you want to continue or not. Hi beautiful souls, my name is Jo. I'm here to inspire and share in hopes of you getting a better relationship with yourself and with your life. So today's topic is going to be about why I gave up on alcohol and partying in my 20s. And this might come as a shock to some of you guys, to others it will be understandable. But I really had to quit this lifestyle. And before we get into the video, I just want to have a disclaimer here that it doesn't mean that if I choose to not drink alcohol and not go to parties that you have to do the same thing. I was just not vibing with this lifestyle, and actually I've already been aware of that since I was basically a child, because in Belgium the legal age of drinking I guess is around 16 years old, but a lot of them just start younger, to be honest. But that was around the time that I started drinking as well, and honestly I never really liked it. So let's get into my story. Make sure to stay till the end of the video, because at the end of the video I'm going to give you some insightful questions, some tips and tricks on to determine if this lifestyle is working you or if it's not working for you. And please don't forget to subscribe and like. It would really mean a lot to me if you were to do that, if you're liking this content, and it would also help my channel to grow faster, because I really want to spread this information to more people. So my story with alcohol began when I was around, I think, 15 or 16 years old. I went to my first party in a Belgian city. It's called Aarschot, we call it Oschot. And I call it the ghetto, okay? It was a bit of a ghetto. It was a bit of a crazy place. But nevertheless, my alcohol and partying journey began there. And yeah, I went there because all of the other children of high school were actually going to parties. So I was like, okay, this is where I find the cool people. This is how I'm going to fit in. Boy, was I wrong. But of course, I went there and I tried alcohol for the first time, and I remember it was beer, which has a very bitter taste. And I tried it, I hated it, I didn't drink the whole night, and I was just overwhelmed by the party. I thought drunk people were kind of scary for some reason, and I didn't understand why anybody would want to party, but that made me feel bad, because now I'm like, okay, now I'm not going to be popular, I'm not going to fit in, so I have to change something about this. So I went home, and when there was the next party, I decided I was just going to go for it. That is when I drank wine for the first time, and this was something that actually I was able to drink. And I got drunk for the first time, and it was a lot of fun. I'm not going to deny that. It was fun. I felt more confident. My boundaries, there were not many boundaries that I had. I was finally able to talk confidently to people. And yeah, I thought I was making a lot of friends, because there were a lot of people yelling at me like, hey, you know, like you feel appreciated by everybody. But the truth is, everybody just kind of yells at each other when they're drunk. But after a while of kind of doing this innocently and just kind of seeing how other people were drinking, I started to get used a bit more to this lifestyle, but something was changing. And it was not really a good change, because I started drinking at least once a week. And I don't mean drinking only 3 glasses, I mean like binge drinking. Because I saw so many people were doing this, and I thought it was just a normal part of life, you know? Oh, okay, everybody binge drinks, it's okay, it's legal, it's fine probably. And I started kind of using alcohol for escapism. I actually was not feeling good with how my life was going at the moment. So alcohol really helped me to get out of that for a little while, of course, because the next day I would be hungover as fuck. But yeah, I did that. And that quickly turned into 2 to 3 times a week that I was drinking, which even turned into daily drinking. But luckily I only did that for about like 2 weeks. But that was at my lowest point because I would say that I was addicted to alcohol. I also used alcohol to start dating people. You know, you meet somebody at a party, it's getting a bit flirtatious, and you go home with them and you basically are being intimate with a complete stranger, only to see and notice that when you text them the next morning, they are not really answering you and they just wanted you to have a quick intimate moment, but not with anything more. So I was always very hurt by that, but I kept giving away my body because I didn't think that there was another way to meet people or to talk to people. I thought I needed alcohol to have these kinds of experiences, and I thought that maybe there was something wrong with me, that I was not good enough to text the next coming weeks after being intimate. But of course, you don't really find any real relationships through doing that. That's something I realized way too late. There was a lot of damage done, and until finally I just kind of realized that I was having literally no respect at all for myself and for my body, that I was just giving it away, and that I always felt bad afterwards. So something had to change. And the realization that I did not have self-respect kind of came when I moved here. I live in a tiny village right now in Belgium, and there's a lot of nature surrounding here, and there is not a lot of bars. There is like some kind of youth thing, but a lot of high school students go there and they don't really play my music, so I don't really tend to go there. And there's also another bar down there, but there's not really much to do. So all of a sudden I had a lot of time to myself, and I'm not really the type of person who really enjoys drinking alone all that much, except for in my addiction. But so when I was living here, I had a lot of time to self-reflect, and there was a lot of rest here, there was a lot of peace here. And at first this peace felt kind of creepy because I had a lot of FOMO. I was like, oh no, I'm so far away from the big city where I can party. What am I going to do now? I don't know. Maybe I will have a very boring life. It won't be entertaining at all. And I will just sit here like, take me back to the city. But luckily that didn't happen. When I started self-reflecting, I realized that actually I didn't really enjoy the parties. I only enjoyed them because I was drinking that much alcohol. Because I'm a kind of person who likes to be around more quiet environments. I just kind of rediscovered that I really love nature. And yeah, that partying is actually not something for sober Joe. But drunk Joe really loved parties. So I kind of became a different person. But it felt more authentic, it felt more real, but it was really lonely because of course you see a lot less people because you have only created relationships. I've only created relationships out of superficiality, which was not really my thing. So now it became the time to kind of see like, how can I create fulfilling relationships without alcohol? And this is getting better, but it's still kind of in process. But I can tell you that I do like my life much better now. I feel more healthy. I don't really have cravings for alcohol all that much. I will say that, of course, there is sometimes that I do go to a festival, but the thing about that is I do volunteering work at a festival. I work at an organization called Safe and Sound, and we give people objective information about drugs, their risks, but also sometimes their rewards. So it's something meaningful that I'm doing, which is why I enjoy to go there. And also a festival, it's like, oftentimes it's like outside, like you can retreat to your tent if you're really not feeling well. You can kind of, do your own thing. So I feel like with festivals, there's a whole different vibe, It's very different as to going out like in the night for one night. It's weird, but this works for me. Do I drink alcohol from time to time? I do. But I decided that it was time to kind of change my relationship with it. And after being clean for months, I was like, okay, I can try again. And for some reason, it has been quite easy to only drink about 2 to 3 drinks. I don't really use it as an escape, but actually I kind of realized, like, what the hell is even the fucking point of getting so drunk that you just forget everything the next day, make stupid decisions. Very often people do that when they're drunk, make stupid decisions, and then you wake up the next day and you're like, what the hell? Actually, it's not fun. I thought it was fun, but that was because I wanted to escape, and now I don't want to escape life anymore because I actually really like my life right now. So I think that's the reason why I'm able to manage my alcohol consumption now. So I hope that while you are listening to me telling my story, that it's completely okay to give up the life of the party, the life of the alcohol. It's completely okay. You're not a boring person. You're not going to miss out on anything really. And yeah, it can feel kind of scary because you feel like you're not fitting in right now. But I promise you, if you decide to change your life and take a different path that is more aligned with your soul, then eventually the right people will come along. In my life, it definitely has been happening, and I feel like I'm evolving into something authentic that doesn't need drugs or alcohol to feel good about my relationships and with myself. So change is possible. But of course, if you want to decide to keep drinking and keep having fun, I'm completely okay with that. I do not judge you at all. I feel like some people just really need that kind of period in their life. And you know what? Some people make careers out of it. I know some people are just really comfortable with being at the party. But for me, that was just not the case. But no judgment at all if you still decide to drink or party. I don't know everything. I'm just telling you my own story. I kind of have an allergic reaction, you guys. Like, it's weird. I don't know if you can see. I think I'm allergic to my own sweat for some reason. And the weather has been getting better. But I don't know what this is like. I won't die, so I'm okay with it. So now I want to move on to some questions that you can ask yourself if you're doubting whether this lifestyle is something for you, if it's benefiting you, or if it's not. And these are some questions I had to ask myself to transition into a new way of life. So maybe the first question that you can ask yourself is, what do parties mean to me? Is it a way of connecting with friends? Is it a way of kind of channeling your emotion? Is it a way to let go of certain things? Is it a healthy way to let tension move out of your body through dancing? Is it fun to you? Would you enjoy it without the drinking? Well, if the answer is yes, then keep partying. Because for a lot of people, it is really healthy to party, you know? They let out all of their trapped emotions, so it could be really beneficial in that way. Well, to me, it was escapism, so it really wasn't benefiting me at all. I was running away from things, but if you use partying to really, like, get rid of some unnecessary emotions, of some trauma, of some feelings that have been trapped in you for a long while, and partying can actually be very beneficial, and I would not encourage you to stop doing it if that's the case. Another question you can ask yourself is, do the pros outweigh the cons? Because I remember when I was drinking, you know, there was a lot of cons. Like, the day after I would be so hungover, but that's also because I binge drank. I would be so, like, depleted energetically. Also, like, the environments were oftentimes way too busy for my sensitive brain. So actually I was just making myself very tired, very lethargic, and even more sensitive, but like not in a good way. Like, you know, I'm not really enjoying this kind of way. And the next day I couldn't really do anything. And if that goes on for a long time, well, you're missing out on a lot of things in life, on a lot of self-development maybe. So to me, the pros did not outweigh the cons at all. But for you, it could be a different case, you know, as I just said, if you use partying as a way to let go of things, as a way to connect with people, and you really find authentic connection through there. Maybe you have a nice friend group and you go to parties often, but the next day you maybe feel a little hungover or something, but it's not like you feel like the life has been sucked out of your soul kind of thing. you know? So if it outweighs the cons, I would say just keep doing it. Maybe you can also think about a question like, how do I see myself in 10 years? Like, who would I want to be? What things would I want to let go of that I'm doing now, but that I know will not fit with me forever or isn't really in my purpose or my soul? Or, you know, like, how do you see yourself in 10 years? Is partying and drinking alcohol perhaps part of it, or is it not? You really don't need to know the answer maybe, but it's nice to kind of think about, and maybe after a while you might get some ideas and you go to parties and maybe you reflect on that question and stuff. But it's also a really insightful question to ask yourself, and give yourself some time to figure it out, you know? You really don't have to know these things like all at once. You can also just generally ask yourself, how does partying make my life better? And just see with what you come up, you know, do a little brainstorm, try to think about a lot of these things and just write them down, you know? And if you read them again and you feel really good about it, I would say there's really not an issue. But if you don't really feel good about it, or you cannot really find many things that are actually fulfilling you because of partying, then you might have to consider maybe choosing a different path. And I just also want to say something about like FOMO, especially for people my age. Like they say when you're a teenager, you can experience a lot of FOMO because then is the age that you really want to fit in. But I know from personal experience, it's still kind of present in your 20s sometimes, you know? We humans, like throughout ages, throughout everything we want is connection, to be heard, to be seen, to have a good time with humans, to connect, you know? And truth is, you can find connection in so many different ways. You don't have to get wasted, you don't have to party to find connection, you know? But it could be part of it, definitely. But I would just say, just make sure that you are not really hurting yourself in the end, because I have missed so many things in my life because of this addiction, and also the addiction to getting validation through parties. So I would say it's completely okay if you do not live a party lifestyle like everybody else. It's okay if you are just a bit of an introvert and you like spending time alone. Don't force yourself to be like a group of people maybe that you are not. You know, make sure that you are being good to yourself, you're taking care of yourself, and that it's not really causing you too much harm, you know? There's nothing wrong with drinking a lot sometimes. I really don't think there's anything wrong with it. But it does become a problem when it becomes repetitive and the cons begin to outweigh the pros. It may be a hard habit to break, but I believe in you. You'll figure out what is best for you. And you know what? I'm deciding to not party right now, to not drink alcohol right now, for the exceptions that I talked about before with me and my volunteering work. But you know what? Maybe there will be a time later on in my life where I'm like, okay, I just want to get loose. But now is definitely not the time. I really enjoy my life the way it is right now. I hope you really got something out of this video. And if you decide not to party, like, join the club. I would say you're okay just the way you are. People who party, you're just okay the way you are. I just wanted to talk about this. Thank you for watching this video.